Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're unpacking a literally life-changing concept from the book Living Forward by Michael Hyatt and Daniel Harkavy. I mean, think about it. Have you ever felt like your days are just kind of blurring together? Like you're stuck on autopilot while the stuff you actually care about gets pushed to the back burner? Well, you are definitely in the right place. We're going to break down exactly how to stop drifting and start intentionally designing the life you actually want to be living.
To kick things off, let's look at this quote right from the text. J.P. Morgan once said, "The first step towards getting somewhere is to decide you're not going to stay where you are." And man, does that hit the nail on the head. Look, we all get lost from time to time, right? It's completely normal. We think we're on the right path, but then we just kind of drift off. Or maybe worse, we know where we're going, but suddenly realize, wait, I don't actually want to end up there. Proactive change really does start right here, with one conscious decision to grab the wheel.
So, here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll acknowledge the drift, then introduce the life planning solution. After that, we'll look at designing your legacy, chart out the tactical steps, and finally, explore the corporate ripple effect. Okay, diving right into Section 1, acknowledging the drift and the danger of passivity. Because before we can fix anything, we have to name the invisible force keeping us stuck. You know, the authors Michael Hyatt and Daniel Harkavy, they didn't just dream this up in an ivory tower. They wrote this from painful, personal experience. They literally saw firsthand and lived through what happens when high achievers meticulously map out their careers but completely neglect the rest of their lives.
So, let's talk about the real villain of our story here. It's called the drift. The drift is basically what happens when we arrive at a destination in life that we didn't consciously choose. It's fueled by passivity, blaming our circumstances on everyone else and just trying to navigate life without a map. Honestly, if we just let the current take us, we can find ourselves in some deep, deep trouble.
And the ultimate consequence of this drift? It's what the authors call the if-only regrets. These are those gut-wrenching, painful realities people face at the end of the line. Things like, if only I had eaten better, or if only I had actually spent time listening to my spouse instead of just talking, or if only I had gone to my kids' games. Listen, life is not a dress rehearsal. Every single day we spend drifting is a day we edge closer to these very real, very painful regrets.
But hey, we're not going to stay stuck in the doom and gloom. Let's move right along to Section 2, the life planning solution, and how to take back the wheel.
Life planning is literally the polar opposite of the drift. Where the drift is passive, life planning is aggressively proactive. The drift wants to blame circumstances, but life planning, it demands you take total responsibility. It's an actual, written, living document that covers your whole life, ensuring you don't end up crushing it in the boardroom, but totally failing at home. The process itself is wonderfully straightforward. First up, you've got to get brutally honest about your current location. Second, you decide exactly where it is you want to go. And third, you just start filling your days with the actions that close that gap. It's a remarkably simple mechanism to bridge the space between your current reality and your envisioned future.
To pull this off effectively, though, we need a massive perspective shift, which brings us to Section 3, designing your legacy, or fast-forwarding to the end.
Okay, I know this next question might feel a little bit heavy, but it's an absolutely essential tool. Ask yourself, what will family, friends, and colleagues say when I am dead? Yeah, it sounds a little morbid, I get it, but actually using your own mortality as a motivational tool is incredibly effective. Think about it, when you're gone, the only truly important things you leave behind are the memories you've created in others. So how do you want to be remembered?
The whole goal here is to live life looking forward through the windshield, not constantly checking the rearview mirror. When you start appreciating your legacy, it allows you to actively design your life today. You stop settling for whatever boring or dangerous shore the drift washes you up on, and you actually start steering the ship on purpose.
Right, let's get tactical. Section 4 is charting your course. How do we take this high-level philosophy and turn it into Tuesday morning action?
The authors introduced this brilliant framework called life accounts. It's just like having checking and savings accounts at the bank, right? But here, your life is divided into domains: faith, health, spouse, kids, finances, friends, work, and hobbies. And here's the kicker. True success isn't having a massive overflowing balance in your work account if your health and spouse accounts are completely bankrupt. You need to manage and find passion in all of these areas.
So for every single one of those life accounts, you're going to craft an action plan. First, write a purpose statement for that specific area. Next, describe your envisioned future, like what does a perfect marriage or perfect health actually look like to you? Then you've got to confront your current reality. And finally, write down specific, actionable commitments to get you from where you are right now to where you want to be.
Now, here is a crucial piece of tactical advice from the authors, and you really can't skip this. You cannot do this life planning thing in little 15-minute chunks between Zoom calls. No way. You must dedicate one full, uninterrupted day to actually write this plan out. Literally, block it off on your calendar right now. Get out of your normal environment, turn off your phone, and do the deep work. Don't wait for someday, because let's face it, someday is a disease that'll take your dreams to the grave with you.
So, what happens when this deeply personal exercise scales up? Let's look at Section 5, the corporate ripple effect. Believe it or not, companies all over the globe are finally waking up to the fact that personal and work lives, they're completely inseparable. You just can't have a thriving employee if they're drowning in personal drift. The source material highlights massive organizations like Chick-fil-A and Cornerstone Home Lending that actively use this exact life planning process with their teams. Why? Because they know for a fact that self-leadership always precedes team leadership.
If you happen to lead a team, here's how you roll it out. You provide the training, whether that's handing out the book or doing off-site coaching. Make sure everyone gets a copy of the material. And, this is the big one, you offer paid time off to write the plan. Actually, Mark Celier, the CEO of Cornerstone, went even further. He recorded videos for all new hires, practically begging them to take a paid day off to go write their life plan. Talk about putting your money where your mouth is.
But remember, creating the plan is really just the starting line. If you want happy, highly productive employees, you've got to provide ongoing support. Smart companies are setting up steering committees, highlighting success stories in their newsletters, and offering real resources. If an employee's plan shows they need help in their finances account, the company brings in financial literacy programs. Need help in the spouse account? The company offers a marriage retreat. They are building a literal culture of intentionality. Which brings us to the final, and honestly, the most important question of this whole explainer. We've given you the framework, but the execution, that is entirely on you. So when will you create your plan? Are you going to let this be just another piece of interesting content you scrolled past today, or will you actually stop drifting, grab the wheel, and schedule that full day to design the life you want? The choice is absolutely yours. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.